Cardano, known as the token ADA, has been a project that's really caught my attention over the last 6 months. Cardano, which is founded by Charles Hoskinson, which was one of the original 5 members of the Ethereum project, which is the first smart contract blockchain, left Ethereum in 2014 when he began and started the Cardano Foundation. Now, Cardano, from when it was started to truthfully today, hasn't really brought some real use case to the world. But one thing that I believe sets Cardano apart from any other blockchain is Charles Hoskinson wants to bring banking and identity to the bankless. And what we don't understand here in the United States is nearly half the world has absolutely no way to prove their identity and prove their ownership of assets. For an example, if you're out in a remote country in the continent of Africa, and let's say a bunch of equipment that you've been handed down, you have no way to prove to a bank that you own it. The only way that you would be able to prove it was likely a piece of paper that was burned during tribal wars at one time or through a coup at takeover, and any of the information that would have been stored in government databases has been long exchanged hands or hacked into. And this is the case around so many continents and so many countries around the world that truthfully, most of us here in Europe as well as in America do not experience. And so what Charles Hoskinson has made as a point to do is to use blockchain technology to bring identity and banking to the world. And while people get understanding of why we have Ethereum and why do we have a Cardano, you need to understand, just like how Microsoft and Apple can both make a lot of money and bring a lot of great use to the world today. And even though they're both tech companies and they both produce tablets and they both produce PCs, they still have an ability to both have tremendous need in the world today. And that's what Cardano is doing. And Cardano is finally having its real world use case. And I want to walk you through a recent article that I feel really highlights it, that I want you to take a good look at so you can make the assessment for yourself if you think Cardano is as good of a project I do, and personally I think is going to be one of the very biggest winners in 2021. So Cardano, as you can see here, specifically gained a lot of attention because Cardano uses something called a proof of stake. This is what Ethereum is moving from Ethereum 1 of a proof of work to Ethereum 2.0 as a proof of stake. And this 2.0 conversion for Ethereum has been promised for a long period of time. So to understand how blockchain really works, and while everybody is wanting this Ethereum 2.0 to come out, you need to understand kind of the issues. So think of it this way. Right now, we have a freeway. And let's say this is a freeway is just one level, right? And we can only have so many cars traveling on this one level. It gets congested. And every car traveling on this level, whether it's payments or smart contracts, all of those things travel on the single layer of Ethereum, which causes very heavy congestion. And what ADA did was it built what's called a dual layer, a second layer. So they can have one that is used to basically process the actual payments of ADA across it, and two that actually goes ahead and where a lot of the smart contracts can run. This allows far less congestion, far quicker processing times, and for overall provides a much better experience for all the projects that are on Cardano. And this is what is known as a 2-layer system, right? And that is what ADA is right now. And this is what Ethereum 2.0 is trying to be, but won't come out until later this year. So let's go over and check out the article, and you be the judge to see if you think Cardano is as good of a project as I do and why I am so bullish on this particular product. One of the biggest draws to Cardano itself is its ability to be as energy efficient as possible. As you guys well know, China and a lot of governments are really cracking down on proof of work blockchains like Bitcoin because they use a lot more energy, millions of times more energy than a lot of a project like Cardano that runs on a proof of stake blockchain. If you haven't seen my video on proof of work versus proof of stake, definitely check out the link in my bio to link over to my YouTube page where you can check it out there. Now, what you can see is Cardano isn't just a little bit more efficient. Cardano is 4 million times as energy efficient as either Bitcoin or Ethereum is, because it is a proof of stake. Now, the problem, as I mentioned before, is Cardano has not really had a real-world use case because they haven't had a smart contract. What a smart contract is, very simply put, is when two parties each complete a certain amount of tasks, no middleman is needed to a change of money or a change occurs. For an example, if I say, if the lights turn off, $1 comes out of my pocket and has to be paid to Omar. Well, when Omar turns the light off, the magical fairy comes and pulls $1 out of my pocket and drops it into Omar. I don't need any middleman to verify it, and that is what a smart contract is. Smart contract is what has allowed Ethereum to blow up because they are the first smart contract blockchain and they have that first mover advantage. But what Ethereum lacks in efficiency and energy efficientness, Cardano makes up for more than. Now the question is, can Cardano catch the first mover advantage of Ethereum? Now, it doesn't necessarily need to catch it in its entirety because think of Cardano and Ethereum as Microsoft and Apple. They both produce PCs, they both produce tablets, but they have very separate target audiences, very separate use cases, and as I mentioned, there's both a great place for both of them in the world today. So, one thing that is very, very, very cool about Cardano specifically is it is run on what they call is a two-layer blockchain. So one of the issues that are always been having to happen is Ethereum gets very congested. And it's because it only has one layer, meaning smart contracts as well as money being exchanged all run on the same level. Think about it as how trafficy a freeway is if the freeway is only one level, right? All of our freeways today are single levels. All the cars, you have too many cars, it gets congested. Now imagine if a freeways were all two-story. You had one on the bottom and then above it you had another freeway. You could handle a lot more cars and maintain a much faster speed of pace because you've divided up that congestion among other layers. And that is what Cardano is doing. It is a two-layer solution. So not only is it much more energy efficient than Ethereum, but it is also much, much quicker at processing these transactions. And the faster these transactions get processed, the much cheaper it is to process those transactions because unlike Ethereum, which is on a proof of work, this is on a proof of stake. So the amount of energy that actually has to be done to verify these transactions is much, much lower. Therefore, it allows for much faster and much less expensive fees to actually transact across this blockchain. Now, the longer Ethereum, as you can see in this chart, the longer Ethereum takes to effectively scale, the better of a shot that Cardano has at filling the scalability and efficiency in the crypto void that Ethereum does not fix until Ethereum 2.0. And Cardano isn't far behind. Cardano right now is the number 4 cryptocurrency, behind Ethereum is number 2. During this massive sell-off, Cardano held up really well, really, really, really well. And because finally these smart contracts are actually happening. The testnet was just launched very recently. A testnet is what happens before the mainnet, or basically the main use case, is released, and the smart contracts are going to be coming on the Alonzo hard fork on, believe it's the end of September. They've been moving that date, so it's very, very quickly. So that is why once this starts happening, everybody that is going to transact on the Cardano blockchain has to purchase Cardano or ADA to send their transactions back and forth. Well, unlike Ethereum, Cardano is finite in supply. There's a fixed supply of Cardano. So when you are going ahead and you have a fixed supply asset and you're going to be needing a lot more supply of it to transact across it, you guys aren't stupid. What happens when there's a finite supply and the demand goes up? Price likely goes up with it, right? So now, Cardano's smart contract rollout plan. So each stage, and one of the things I love about Cardano is the roadmap of Cardano is brilliantly laid out. It was executed with a brilliant mathematical certainty about it, with hitting dates, where they're going, why they're going, what their objective is, how they want to actually bring identity to the world and actually bring banking to the bankless. They are very, very concrete and laser focused, which is one thing I like. And I'm a big fan of Ethereum. I'm a very big fan of Ethereum, just like I like Microsoft and I like Apple. So mind you, I'm not saying Cardano is going to kill Ethereum. What I'm saying is Cardano is definitely somebody you want to watch, and you personally, I think, should have in your portfolio, because they are going to be a big force, in my opinion, in the crypto space. Now, one of the biggest things that Cardano's lacked, as I mentioned, was smart contracts. Apparently, after one of the things they've done is a peer-reviewed blockchain, which basically means is every single change that is being done and every single amount that has gone into building out Cardano's blockchain is peer-reviewed. That is so important. That means that they crossed every T and dotted every I. And this is what Cardano is known for, is that perfect, precise execution. They've just lacked the ability to bring it to market. So that is coming this summer. So Cardano benefits, as I mentioned before, from having the foresight to separate its blockchain into two layers, an accounting layer and a computation layer. The accounting layer handles all the movement of value, paying for things across the blockchain, and the other deals with the decentralized applications. This means all the things that happen, because one of the great things about Cardano and smart contracts is you can think of all the real world use cases. For an example, say my wife and I, and we live in a very impoverished part of, let's say, Africa in this case, and what ends up happening is our kids go to school, and guess what? Our kids' school records, they're nowhere to be kept. They're nowhere to be kept. There's not a centralized database. So what this does will take this information country by country, and he's already had 2 countries in Africa already on board, where they will be uploading all of those records into a blockchain, where then now these applications, let's say when that kid wants to go to college, they can immediately send a query, and if they meet that they have been credentialed to request this information, the information is immediately released to them, lightning fast speed, no waiting for a government to stamp off on the authority of it, and they have access to all that information. That information is held in a blockchain that cannot be hacked, cannot be manipulated, cannot be overthrown, cannot be burned down, and that is what it's solving. And so they have one layer for all of those requests of those smart contracts, and the other layer to move the money, preventing the congestion from happening. Now, what's happening is we now have a very reasonably concrete timeline in place where we can expect Cardano news to start coming as soon as the launch actually happens, because the test net was already launched. So here it is. Other blockchains, and I'll read you guys this because it's very important and I couldn't summarize it any better on my own. Other blockchains besides Ethereum exist to offer developers the ability to create smart contracts. Cardano is not special in that regard. Where Cardano project has a leg up against all other smart contract-enabled blockchains besides Ethereum and its research-backed development and growing list of real-world applications. Now, what this means is it has real-world use case and real-world projects lining up for it, right? So think about it this way. If Microsoft built a great phone, but no phone company wanted to carry that phone, who cares how good that phone is? Doesn't matter. It's not going to be brought to market. And the reason why Ethereum has been so successful is it has all of these projects, these dApps. All a dApp means is basically it's a decentralized application. So it's just a project or a company that runs along the Ethereum network. Think of the Ethereum as Internet 2.0, and these different projects operate on it. They can do everything from financial to verifying documents. They can be confirming and uploading all types of identity to it. Smart contracts. Every way, just think of a contract like today. All the contracts you have to buy and sell things today, that's all a smart contract is, except there's no middleman in the mode needed. Cardano actually has real-world use case and projects lined up for it. And here's where it's really cool. Cardano is going ahead and actually bridging so that projects on Ethereum can easily and quickly move from the Ethereum blockchain to the Cardano blockchain. So they are making it very, very easy. Think of it this way. If you have an Apple iPhone and you love the new Microsoft iPhone or Microsoft phone, what do you think? Shoot, all my contacts, all my pictures, all my apps are on that phone. That's such a pain in the butt. Now imagine if Microsoft came out and said, hey, by the way, all that stuff on there, all you have to do is plug this little cord into the iPhone, plug this little cord into your phone, and everything on there is going to be immediately on here. And guess what? Our service is faster, better, and it's way less expensive. And that's what Cardano is saying, because they're actually having a token converter that is moving these projects over from ERC20 tokens over to the Cardano blockchain. which is huge. Now, what I want to basically go through is right here. So let's go over a couple of the projects that Cardano is actually working with. So one of the biggest things they focused on originally was a lot of research for Cardano. They've already begun implementing and planning many more for the future. And of course, in addition to the smart contract capabilities, additional practical uses will become possible. In Africa, they are working on the biggest blockchain deal ever. In Ethiopia, more specifically, a Cardano-based digital identity solution is being rolled out to serve over 5 million students. There were also other projects in Africa dealing with donating to help children, building a network infrastructure to bring internet around to all of these different locations, supporting entrepreneurs, educating individuals on the newest technology. In addition to Ethiopia, there are also a handful of other universities and educational ministries partnering with Cardano's IOHK to research blockchain technology and utilize Cardano's blockchain technology. For example, the University of Edinburgh, University of Wyoming, and the Ministry of Education in Georgia. Cardano has been utilized by New Balance to verify shoe authenticity. That wasn't enough. Cardano has a for-profit branch called Emergo dedicated solely to facilitating commercial ventures that help grow Cardano's uses and adoption. So think about it this way. This company has been a startup until now. They haven't had a real-world use case. Cardano is now launching their smart contracts platform. It's being launched by a guy named Charles Hoskinson, who was an open source developer back in the day for Bitcoin. He then worked on Ethereum, split off when he had a disagreement with the founders of Ethereum, went and started Cardano. So he knew how Ethereum was built from the ground up. And don't get me wrong, Ethereum is a great project, but Cardano is definitely a project to watch out for. They are faster, they are cheaper, and they're the new guy in town, and they are going ahead and dedicating themselves to working with a lot of municipalities, to bringing identity to the entire world, to bringing baking to the world, to bringing education to all of those that do not have it. So right now, Cardano has been trading at about $1.70. It had a great run up last month from a low $1, $1.10, and went up to as high and broke well over $2. Personally, I really truly believe, and if you look at BNB for an example, so BNB is the Binance coin. When the Binance, which is a centralized platform, launched their smart contracts, they saw BNB tokens skyrocket from the 30s and 40s and then went up to as high as 600. Now, it's 20x. Do I expect Cardano to go 20x? No, I do not, because it's already the number 4 token out there. But do I see potential of a $5 Cardano by October? Yeah, I do. I can't give you financial advice because I'm not a legal financial advisor, but I definitely recommend checking out Cardano. It's not a project you're going to want to miss. There's a new kid on the block. You be the judge. How do they perform?